Hey guys, how's it going? So today I've got another quick custom printed LEGO minifigure review, and this time we are covering Battinson version 2, or of course Robert Pattinson's Batman from The Batman, that's a lot of Batmans, by Minifig Madness. I reviewed the first version a couple months ago here on the channel. This one is much different, however, and after anticipating it for a couple months and finally having it here in hand, it is definitely pretty interesting. There are a few things I definitely like and dislike about this, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think about it by the end. And with all of that, let's get started. Okay, so here we go. Now, like I said, there are things that I like and dislike about this minifigure, and to kind of start off with the positives, I do want to go ahead and remove the cowl and the head for now so I can focus on the rest of the minifigure and everything that you see here, beginning with the shoulder pauldron that is attached to the collar draped over the minifigure's neck post. I think this piece is perfect. I think this is really cool. I think that collar is like the perfect shape. I think the shoulders are the perfect design and the perfect size, and the fact that they are all interconnected, I mean, this is really awesome, and I can't wait to eventually use one of these on a custom Robert Pattinson Batman minifigure of my own. I was really excited to see this translated so well onto the real minifigure. The cape was actually the second choice that they went with, as I believe the first cape was not really well received by everyone. I think he was going to use a more standard cape for this Batman, but this one is a little bit more proportional to the overall look of the minifigure and is definitely, I think, the better choice. So it's really cool to see this included. Got a little bit crinkled up by the shoulder pauldron, but obviously that doesn't really matter. Now, what I really do think is commendable about this whole minifigure is, of course, the updated design. Now, you can see that this has a much more of a focus on a dark gray primary color this time around versus the original, which was more focused on like sort of the gray outlines that you do generally see on Batman minifigures overall. But it is definitely a really unique choice, and I also think that it does a lot to highlight more detail on the minifigure, and I think that the gray actually does kind of do a lot to make this design more vibrant this time. And yeah, you can also see like some new additions here do include like the knee pads, which I think look a lot better this time as they are much more pronounced. You have a little holster printed onto the side of the leg there with straps and everything this time as well. I mean, overall, this is a lot more accurate now that we got that first trailer a couple months ago at the DC Fandom. And then you also have the gauntlets looking really awesome this time, and just everything on this updated design looks a lot more pronounced, and I definitely do prefer it. And I like how the printing does continue to wrap all the way around the side of the torso here. Unfortunately, it does not continue onto the back, which is a bit of a bummer, even though the cape does, of course, cover that up. I think is important to keep a consistent look. Like on the Dark Knight Trilogy Batman by Phoenix Customs, for instance, the back printing is still there, even though the cape covers it up. While I understand not printing on the back of the torso, I feel like this is definitely a little bit old-fashioned and doesn't really help to keep a consistent look with the overall minifigure, but it's not too big of a deal. The first version did not have back printing either. So going ahead and putting the cape back on now, though, so we can kind of discuss basically the negatives, because that was about where my positive opinions of the minifigures sort of end, unfortunately, as this face design is okay. It's just that doesn't really translate too well once you go ahead and put this new cowl piece on, and I think that this is a criticism that they have heard a lot about over on their Instagram page, for instance, as this new matte cowl wound up being pretty disappointing. It's a nice design, it's just it doesn't extend all the way down the head, and they opted to use an all flesh tone head as well, which does not help at all. The first one's flesh tone face was printed onto a black head, which was definitely the much better option. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to change it here, as I thought it was fine the first time, and unfortunately it seems like the sprue bits on the back are even more noticeable and even more pronounced. It looks really odd. Of course, as a customizer, I can fix all of these things. I could sculpt an extension, I can remove those sprue bits and sand them off, but unfortunately the majority of people cannot do that, and it kind of sucks to see that the cowl turned out this way. I think it's an easy fix too, you know, literally just extending it a little bit, maybe limiting the mobility as a consequence, would be a worthy sacrifice to make sure that this looked a little bit better. And then also, yeah, printing the flesh tone onto the black head was definitely the better choice here, even though the skin tone might be a little bit pale. It really isn't worth it to do an all fleshy tone head. And yeah, so I mean, I can easily just paint the whole underside of the head there. I think that can kind of be a bummer for anyone looking to purchase this, as this whole minifigure is really great, and it does use pad printing, by the way, just like official LEGO. I didn't mention that a little bit earlier there, but I'm removing that head and cowl one more time to actually give you a look at what the first version of their Battinson head with what the cowl would look like on the updated version, and yeah, I think this is much better. Obviously, the shinier black cowl is not consistent with the new matte parts that they have going with the second version, but I think this definitely makes it look a lot better. I know not everyone even preferred the first version of the cowl, but I think this definitely looks really cool regardless, and the sprue marks are also less noticeable on this piece, I think. So that is just my opinion on the Robert Pattinson Batman version 2 by Minifig Madness. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I wanted to make sure that I also echoed these issues that were apparent with this cowl, so that next time when they make a Batman minifigure, something like this won't happen again. But I definitely think that besides the cowl, the whole rest of the minifigure is really awesome. So let's go ahead and start to wrap up this video. Alright guys, let me know what you thought down in the comments. I appreciate you sticking around for the whole video. That's gonna do it for the review. And yeah, this one was tough, man, because I really do like the whole figure. It's just the cowl really does throw it off, but I know that they've heard that over there at Minifig Madness 1,000 different ways by now. I certainly was not among the first to point any of that out. But yeah, guys, of course, I am posting progress for the Avengers Endgame project, like Thor, right now over on my Patreon page, just like I did for the Mandalorian Season 2 showcase, by the way, so that is always available if you'd like to consider supporting the channel that way. Otherwise, you can always find me over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, posting edits like these and previews for upcoming customs as well. All of that happening way before it reaches the channel here, and so I highly recommend it, not just for no reason, but either way, the Batman got pushed to 2022, and that kind of sucks. I don't think I'm going to wait that long to make my custom version of the character in LEGO, but we will see. But thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good Thanksgiving. All right, take care.